Folks, we're going to open up the questioning for Coach Coombs with Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now on SI. Brendan?
Hi, Brendan. Coach. Hello, everybody.
I asked you a couple of weeks ago about your love and passion for being an Ohio guy.
Yeah.
And you gave me a really thorough answer. And I'm curious, in your couple of years that you were in the NFL, how much you really, truly missed being a part of this game.
Well, this game, this rivalry game, are you kidding me? I mean, I had so on Saturdays in the NFL, that practice takes place kind of early in the afternoon or early, like 10, 11, 12. It's in that range, right? And so this game always being a noon kickoff, there would be guys on the staff, the training staff, people, auxiliary people with the Titans who would be walking out and giving us scores and updates of this game. It's different, obviously, for everybody. And everywhere you go, as you know, there are Buckeyes. And so in that facility, there were several of us that were very concerned about the progress of this game. And so that would be, you might be calling defense in practice and they're telling you, hey, they're up 7-0, they're up 14-0. And it was just an awesome, awesome experience.
The availability report came out last week, just an hour or so before the game. Obviously, you guys knew days in advance the kind of cards you were being dealt. Can you take us a little bit inside the facility and how chaotic or calm the idea of trying to get guys that haven't seen the field a lot prepared and confident and ready to do their job well? What was that all like last week?
The first word that comes to mind for me, that's driving me crazy. Is there a way to fix that? Echo or whatever it is. Sorry, guys. There, it's gone. So the first word to describe it is that it was the loneliest week I've ever had in coaching. For the amount of time that you were not allowed to be around the staff. First of all, half the staff wasn't here, so that was part of the problem. But then also, you couldn't interact with your players other than on the field. So all the meetings were Zoom, everything was separate. And so it was quiet, it was lonely, it was miserable. And so I loved practice because it was the only time really that you were around people. I mean, we were literally, as a coaching staff, kind of locked in our office for the entire day and could escape for practice, which was fantastic. As far as the preparation and chaos, I will tell you this. I've never been this entire experience has been incredible, but the rewarding part of watching these kids and how they just continue to push forward under any circumstance, regardless of, and they don't complain, they don't push back, they just show up and work. And it's every day. I mean, we didn't get to our hotel till 10:45 Saturday night for a noon game on Saturday because of all of the testing and all the things that go into that week. And you know what they did? They got there, we did bed check, they went to sleep. They got up in the morning and they got ready to go. And so my heart is full for these kids and what they have endured and how they continue to respond. And there's not a single person that's an Ohio State Buckeye fan that should not have unbelievable respect for these young people and what they've been able to, how they've been able to handle the situation.
Have fun and good luck this week.
Next up, Rob Aller with the Columbus Dispatch. Rob?
Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Rob.
How are you doing?
Great.
Hey, how close do you pay attention on what's going on up north outside of X's and O's and strategy? Like some of the soap opera stuff. Do you pay attention or is that just noise?
I would tell you that I'm not even aware of the soap opera stuff that you're kind of referring to. So I don't know if you're talking about whether, how many guys are playing and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's no opportunity to pay attention to anything other than how it might affect the game plan and preparation. So I would tell you that's probably the extent of it. I don't know if that answers your question or even if that was what you were asking.
All right, second thing here. Go all the way back in your career. What's the biggest upset that you've been part of? And it can be either side, where you got beat or pulled the upset. And just talk about the idea of huge underdogs and how challenging.
I would never talk about getting beat, so that one I'm not going to go that route. Man, I don't know. You know, I would, I don't have a good answer for that. In high school football, the first time we beat one of the teams from the GCL, which had never really been done, was a really big deal. At Cincinnati, you know, we had pretty good success against West Virginia when we were a pretty big underdog. And then I'll be honest with you, that Sugar Bowl in 2014 was no joke now when we're playing Alabama with the third string quarterback. And I don't know what the line was, and I don't know what qualifies as an upset. We never felt like underdogs, but that was a pretty big deal too. So those are ones that stick out to me that's a great question.
Next up, Bill Landis with The Athletic. Bill?
Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Bill.
I think some people might look at the sack number for your defensive front and see that it's a little lower than it has been in years past. But a lot of the more, I guess, advanced numbers and frankly, just sort of watching you guys play shows that your defensive line, I think is playing really well. I guess, how would you assess the way those guys are playing up front and in particular against the run? It just seems week after week, you guys do a really good job of shutting that down.
Yeah, I think they're playing really well. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you how many sacks we have. Doesn't matter as far as what we're doing. I think that they pressure the quarterback, which is really important. I think that they have done a great job for a largely inexperienced group. You know, you remember there's a lot of guys that were playing there last year. I think Larry does a great job with them. I think they've done a tremendous job fitting and filling every gap in the run structure. And I love their energy. I love how hard they play. You know, obviously Haskell's play was a huge play Saturday, but I love being around those guys. And I think they're playing really, really hard and really well.
And you may not want to go here, but I want to ask you anyway. Just given how much this game means to everybody, and you guys know that nothing this year is guaranteed, what would it mean if you weren't able to play this game?
Oh, I don't even, you're right. I don't want to go there because I can't even I just got sick to my stomach when you said that. I mean, we're preparing to play. I think we're going to play. I think it's, you know, this game's been a part of my life since I was 5 years old. So we all want to play this game. This game means a lot and we all want to play.
Thanks.
Next up, Doug Lesmerises with Cleveland.com. Doug?
Hi, Doug.
Hey, Kerry, how are you?
Great.
Ronnie Hickman's development, how far has he come this year? And we know you guys have the slot corner and you have a safety who comes down sometimes. Sometimes I think we say it wrong of exactly what a guy's position is, but just where are you with Ronnie and what you trust him to do on the field and how you think you guys can best use Ronnie on the field?
Yeah, well, obviously Ronnie played in the nickel package on Saturday. He's playing an awful lot on special teams. He's in the era of COVID versatility. He is learning and is capable of playing both of our safety positions, what we call cover safety, what we call free safety, and the ability to play in the nickel package. So he's a valuable guy for us, and he continues to develop. He's a big, fast guy, and so our job is to coach him well and get him on the field and get him opportunities to play. But in the world we're in right now, that's true for an awful lot of players. And you know, he just has to fit that role, if that makes sense, Doug.
And Marcus Hooker seemed like he made a couple big plays for you guys. He had a tackle on a third down run that stopped them short of a first down, made a play in coverage. How did you think he performed last week?
Yeah, he played well. He graded champion. It was great for him, you know, and it was great for us. It was great for us to be able to kind of hit the reset button there and be able to do and feel comfortable and confident out there on the field. I thought that was really important for Marcus and obviously really important for us going forward, that he was able to go out there and not just play, but play successfully within the structure of the defense.
Thanks, Kerry.
Yep.
Next up, Jeremy Birmingham with Letterman Row. Jeremy?
Hey, Kerry, how are you?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks. Hey, you mentioned about the last week and being the loneliest week of your life in coaching. That's sort of been the standard for 2020, even in everything, right?
Yep.
Can you talk to me about how different recruiting has been this year for you as it has been in your past?
Yeah, well, it's incredibly different. You don't get to see anybody. You don't get to have them on your campus. I think that there's a lot of kids out there that want to be Buckeyes, and they should. They need to come to campus. They want to come to campus. They want to be a part of this experience, and you can't let them, and they can't come, and you can't see them, and so you do everything through FaceTime and Zoom and conversation. So the art of recruiting has changed dramatically. I think that Coach Day, one of the many things that he does very, very well is he stays engaged with all of the recruits, which is that's a burden for the head coach. But he does a really good job of that. And so I think we're on track for the signing date next Wednesday with the 2021 class, and I think the 2022s are an extraordinary group of kids that we've been communicating with. And but it is so much different to talk to mom through your phone than it is to sit in the same room with them and be able to let them feel. To me, one of the things that brings people to Ohio State is the feeling of family. And while everybody's doing Thanksgiving on Zoom, it's they're going to trust you with their son. They want to know that they want to see that, they want to feel that in the same room, in my opinion. And I think that's really challenging.
And from a different perspective, for you coming from the NFL back to having to recruit and evaluate 15-year-olds on tape,
Yep.
Without being able to see them in person, how much of a challenge has that been for you in these last 6 months, looking at young defensive backs who you can't see in person?
Yeah, I would tell you that in March and April, I really struggled with that. I went to Pantone and I said, hey, these guys you're giving me, they're not good enough. And he said, Kerry, they're 15, and you've been looking at 28-year-old professionals at the top of their game. He said, well, you got it backwards here. So I had to regroup that a little bit and go back and try to watch them in context, which really helped me to get a better feel for the evaluation piece. But I love to see kids in person. I love to evaluate them in person. I love to see them in their school environment. When I go to a school, I talk to the janitor and the lady who serves lunch in the cafeteria, not necessarily the football coach. I want to know what this kid is like when it's not football and nothing's around and all that kind of stuff. And that's hard to do, right? When you can't Zoom the janitor. And so that part of it, that part of the experience and a full evaluation of what kind of people they are beyond just what you see on film has been made incredibly difficult.
Thank you.
Next up, Dan Hope with 11 Warriors. Dan?
Hey, Kerry, I know you guys put such a big emphasis on limiting big plays after the Indiana game. Just how much do you feel like you guys have made strides in that regard? What do you feel like you've been able to clean up to improve upon?
Yeah, well, we let one go Saturday, so we're not there yet. We have to continue to make that an emphasis. It's going to be an emphasis this week, but it's going to be important this week because they have a big arm quarterback that can throw the ball way down the field. And so we're going to have to, and it's very skilled receivers. So we're going to have to make that a priority again. And it's not going away. So we're going to work on it every day in practice. We're going to talk about it in every single meeting. And it's going to be an emphasis from now until we're done playing this year.
Do you feel like you have seen strides in practice with guys getting more comfortable with that?
No, there's no doubt. We got better. We got better, and we got better in practice. And one of the big messages from Ryan this week has been execution. Execution matters. It matters in practice, and that's going to be a real focus today. We got to continue to execute. We weren't good enough in execution on everything last week, and so we got things to improve on, and that's what we're going to work on today. And but that will be a constant source of activity for us, is continuing to work on the big plays. But I do believe we got better, yes.
Thanks, Kerry.
Next up, Tim May, Letterman Row. Tim?
Yeah, by the way, I think you can Zoom a janitor, but I may be wrong, Kerry.
I just don't know how to get a hold of him. I always know the guy who's pushing the broom down the hall, but that's a little tougher when you don't know who they are.
Hey, real quick, I want to ask you, Baron Browning stepped into that, I think, the Mike linebacker last week and seemed to play extremely well, graded a champion, and just seemed like a different player than when he was playing that spot a year ago. And just what's your take on him, his development, and if you have to lean on him, obviously, again this week, how confident are you?
Very confident. I thought that what Brandon did, what he did last week was he built his resume. I mean, you talk about a guy who was able to come in a short notice and fill a spot that was critical for us, and he did a great job. He didn't do a good job. He did a great job, and he didn't bat an eye. And that's one of the things about this team that is special. And he just went right at it and embraced it. And Al did a great job coaching him up and getting him prepared. And I would also tell you that we're able to do that because Justin Hilliard is such a valuable part of the defense. And so now you've got we had some experienced guys out there, right? Hilliard, yeah. Browning, and Pete. And that was very, very comforting in the environment that we were in and going into that game. And I thought I do think he was better than he was last year playing that spot, Tim. I agree with you. And I think I think that was a very good experience for him and for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and how heartening was it to see him and Hooker and some others just step up, knowing the challenge that y'all had dealt with for 2 weeks there, getting ready to play. I mean, your regulars have to play well, right? I mean, go ahead. You know what I mean?
It was significant. Sean Wade played a good game. We had Haskell Garrett obviously played a good game. And there's a lot of guys. Pete Werner was a very, very solid champion. So all of those things, when you get in chaos, right, you got to rely on effective leadership, and they've got to be calm, and they've got to provide hope, and they've got to provide security for the other guys. And that's what they did. If I'm new to the mix, I can feel good about the fact that the guy to my right and the guy to my left, they got my back. They're leaders, and they're calm, and they're not out there hollering and screaming, and there's no chicken littles running around campus. The sky's not falling. We're going to go out there and we're going to play. Whoever's healthy and whoever's allowed to play, and put your cleats in the ground, put your hand in the dirt, and go play. And that's what they did.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
We got time for just a couple more questions for Coach Coombs. Next up, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Pat.
From when you came to Ohio State to now, I'm curious how different it is talking to kids about this rivalry, because I think if you look at the numbers, there are more out-of-state kids, more kids from further away. We were just talking to Wyatt, just talking to Justin, guys who didn't grow up with it. So explaining the rivalry to kids like that when they get to Ohio State, how do you do that as someone who's so passionate, and has that increased over the last few years?
Yeah, it's funny because yesterday after we were done with our work, not yesterday, I guess it was Sunday. So after practice, I had my guys together, and I grabbed Lathan Ransom. I got all the DBs, right? And here's Lathan Ransom, who's this kid from Arizona, who's a freshman. And I said, who's Tyvis Powell? And he said, well, he's the guy that intercepted the ball on the 2-point play. So that tells me that the kids who are new and the kids who are from across the country understand that when you play in this game, when you make a play in this game, it's legendary. It lasts forever. It's not for all of time's sake. Tyvis Powell is going to be remembered for that play. It plays on our screen in the hallway every day. I walk by it every day. The number of guys that have made plays in those huge games, going all the way back, to the beginning of when video was here, and our kids they embrace that, and they know how many days it is till we play the game. They know Coach Marotti does such an unbelievable job in the weight room from the day they arrive to making this game a focus, that they understand that this is a big deal. They get it.
And Wyatt said he hates that LL Cool J song, "The Time for War."
Oh yeah,
I've heard that longer than Wyatt has. What's your opinion on that song?
Yeah, I didn't know who sang it. To me, I love walking up and down the hallway and saying, "It's time for war," and then I know it irritates them, but that's okay, because it's one of those things that's special about this game and about this week, and it's just really neat to me.
Thanks, Kerry.
Sure.
And final questions for Coach Coombs come from Clay Hall, WSYX Channel 6. Clay?
Hey, Coach. I know you're a hair on fire type guy. I can imagine you trying to prep for 3 different quarterbacks. Is that the case with them?
Sure. I think you have to prepare for everything, every scenario this week. It's not like it's just like people playing us last week. You don't know who's there and who's not there and you just got to prepare. At the same time, the game is the game. I thought that I thought this coaching staff up there last year did a really good job preparing for the Buckeyes. And I would expect that they're going to do exactly the same thing from a scheme preparation standpoint, regardless of who plays quarterback. But my assumption is that their starter's going to play and that they're going to be at as full strength as they can possibly be. That's the way we're preparing, and I would expect that that's what it's going to be.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Great. Coach Coombs, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. If I don't see you again, have a Merry Christmas. It's getting close.